If you want to drive more foot traffic into your tap room and ultimately increase revenue for your brewery, I'm going to give you a simple framework that you can follow that will allow customers to actually go through a planned and organized customer journey that will naturally lead them into your tap room. Here's the thing, most breweries don't really think about their customer journey. They kind of just post on social media and hope for the best. And I'm a big believer that breweries could have much more effective marketing if they just followed an actual framework and used an actual strategy that allowed customers to find out about them, give them their contact info, and then hear from that brewery over and over and over again until they were ready to actually visit. So I'm going to cover that whole framework in this video. Before I do, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve. I'm the founder of Harbor Marketing Agency. And my team and I help breweries to drive more foot traffic into their tap rooms using Facebook ads, email marketing, and SMS. Let's dive in. So, as I mentioned, you need an actual framework that takes people through a customer journey to bring them into your tap room. We've coined this framework the T.A.P.S framework. So, what T.A.P.S stands for is traffic, acquire data, purchase, and sustain. Those are the 4 steps that you need to take people through in order to build a thriving tap room. Traffic just basically means that you need to get more traffic to your website and to your social media pages. Acquire data means that you need to make sure that when that traffic comes to your website and social media pages, that you're doing everything you can to capture their email, their phone number, and their Facebook Messenger profile if possible. Purchase is very simple. Once they're on your email list or your text list or your Facebook Messenger list, you need to make sure that you're putting relevant content in front of them, such as weekly events, beer releases, or other things that they might be interested in order to get them to actually want to come in the tap room. And then sustain is a very important piece. That's just making sure that once they're in the tap room, they have an amazing experience. The staff is friendly, the beer is great, the food is great, the atmosphere is welcoming and inviting. That's key to making sure that they come back. So I'm going to dive into each one of those in this video. So let's start with traffic. Traffic is the first piece of this. And again, what that means is making sure that more people are visiting your website and going to your social media pages. Now, there's really 3 main ways that you can get more traffic to your website and to your social media pages. The first is organic social media. This is what most breweries do, and this is 99% of their entire marketing strategy. And there's nothing wrong with organic social media. I think every single brewery should strive to have a strong presence on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. But the problem with only relying on organic social media is you're just not going to get the reach that you really need to actually drive a significant amount of new people into the tap room on a regular basis. You're constantly relying on your next post to take off and do really, really well and get in front of people who are not already following you. And it's just a really hard strategy to sustain over time. So that's area number 1 is organic social media. Again, not saying that it's a bad thing to focus on that, but it shouldn't be the main piece of your traffic strategy. The next piece that a lot of brewery owners rely on is word of mouth. Word of mouth, like organic social media, is great, but again, it's just not reliable and consistent. You can't make your customers tell other people about you. It's not a reliable or controllable strategy. Then the final way to get traffic is paid advertising. Paid advertising can consist of Facebook and Instagram ads, TikTok ads, billboards, radio, really any kind of advertising where you give some company or a platform money in exchange for them getting you reach. So there are lots of different ways that you can do paid advertising. I mentioned billboard, radio, Facebook and Instagram ads, TikTok ads. For breweries, in my opinion, the best place to start is Facebook and Instagram advertising. The reason for that is they have so much data on your potential customers already, and you can actually target people who specifically live within a 5 to 10 mile radius of your tap room, who are interested in craft beer or interested in trivia or interested in live music or anything that you think might be relevant to your potential customers. You can't do that with billboard advertising or radio advertising. It's just not as targetable as these platforms like Facebook and Instagram, where they have all this data on their users. So I would start with Facebook and Instagram. I personally believe that every single brewery should have a really solid organic social media strategy. They should try to facilitate some form of word of mouth. and they should also be doing paid advertising. So you should be doing all three of those. If you can do that effectively, then you'll never be hurting for traffic. The only other thing that I will say here is if you do decide to get into paid advertising, there are a couple prerequisites that you'll want to have in place. I actually think that an organic social media strategy, a well thought out one and one that you're consistent and keeping up with, is a pretty good prerequisite before you get into paid advertising. The reason for that is if you're driving a bunch of traffic to your social media pages and you're paying to get in front of all these people and they're clicking and going to your website and going to your social media pages, you want to make sure that there's content on there that's good, high quality, engaging content for them to check out and kind of get a feel for what you're all about. The second prerequisite is you should have a good website in place. You don't want to drive all this traffic to a website that just doesn't look good or doesn't represent your brewery in the best light or the way that you would really want your brewery to be represented. So you need to make sure that there's a strong foundation in place of good content and a good website. And then the third piece of this, as far as prerequisites go, that kind of tie into the other two, is you should have good photography in place. So when they go to your website, what's going to make your website look really good is having good photography, just high quality, clear, not blurry imagery, not like it's taken off a 2006 Nokia phone. You should invest the money in having a photographer come to the brewery and really take high quality, nice photos so that you can feature them on your website and on your social media. So that's the traffic piece of this. Organic social media, word of mouth, paid advertising, and just make sure that you're presenting yourself professionally. The next piece of this is acquire data. So this is the part that almost all breweries miss, or they just don't place as much focus on this as they should. So acquire data means that as all this traffic is coming to your website and coming to your social media pages, you want to have mechanisms in place to collect email addresses, collect phone numbers, collect Facebook Messenger contact info. The reason that this is important is because most people need multiple touch points to get familiar with your brand before they actually decide to walk in the door for the first time. Most people don't just see one ad and then become a customer the next day, or they don't just see one social media post and then walk in the tap room. People are busy, they have things going on, they need to be reminded to come and visit you. Otherwise, they're just going to stay to their regular routine of going to the same restaurants or other breweries or whatever they do on a regular basis. We're trying to get them to break a pattern. We're trying to get them to break their routine and try something new. That generally requires multiple touch points and a little bit of convincing to do so. So again, the way that we do that is we collect their contact info so that we can continue to market to them moving forward. Now, there are really three ways that you can do this. I suggest that you do all three. The first is you should have an email pop-up on your website. So everybody that goes to your website, after the first 5 seconds or so of being on your website, or maybe they scroll a certain amount, a pop-up should come up that exchanges some kind of offer in exchange for them joining your email list. So that offer can really be anything that you want it to be, anything that you think is enticing to your customers. It might be $5 off your tab if you sign up for our email list. It could be 50% off pizzas. It could be first beer on us if you sign up for our email list. And all you're trying to do is get people to see that pop up, engage with the offer, sign up with their email, and then you can also collect their phone number in that pop up as well. So the goal here should be to convert about 5 to 10% of website traffic into email and SMS subscribers through that pop-up. If you can do this and you're continually driving traffic to your website through organic social media, word of mouth, and paid advertising, and then you're collecting 5 to 10% of that traffic's email addresses, you will not have a problem building your list over time, and that will become an extremely valuable asset for your brewery. The next piece of this is meta lead ads. So meta is what is now called Facebook, or what was called Facebook and Instagram. It's now called Meta. So when I say Meta, I'm talking about Facebook and Instagram ads. You can run a Meta lead ad where basically you can have that same offer. Let's say it's first beer on us when you join our email list. People can click on that ad and then fill out a form directly on Facebook or Instagram where they can opt in to your email and SMS list, and that data can be automatically sent to your email platform, and those people can be added to your email list. That's also a really effective way of getting people onto your email list. And that can actually be a little bit faster than just waiting for people to fill out the pop-up, because in order for them to fill out the pop-up, they have to go to your website first. With these meta lead ads, they don't even have to leave Facebook or Instagram. They can just fill out the form right on that platform. So we've had a lot of success with this, and it's a really good way to just expedite the process of building your email and SMS list. And then finally, the third way to acquire data is do it right in the Taproom. So if your point of sale system allows you to collect emails upon people closing out their tabs, that's a great way to collect data as well. You can do it through loyalty programs or any other way that you think might entice people to give you their email address at checkout. I would encourage you to do this because these people are already in your tap room. They've qualified themselves as people who are your customers and are probably likely to come back. So you need to make sure you continue marketing to them to remind them to come back and visit you again. I would also add that you can use those offers that I mentioned before. So if you're running a free beer on us when you sign up for your email list offer in your pop-up and on Meta, you can also run that in your tap room. Maybe have a table tent on your table that promotes that offer to existing customers. Because again, your people that are already in the tap room, you might have the mindset that you don't want to promote that offer to them because they're already customers. My argument would be you should reward your existing customers with the same offer that you're giving new customers. Those are the people that are loyal to you, and you want to make sure that you're encouraging them to come back. Those are the people that are most likely to visit again, so give them a reason to do so. The last thing I'll say about the acquire data section is this. The bottom line is that if you had an email list of 50,000 people in your local area who were your potential customers, who are interested in craft beer, trivia, live music, bingo, and all the things that you might be doing at your brewery, it would be pretty hard for you to have a slow night if you were sending out one email per week to that list. So your list is your most valuable asset. This is such an important piece of the T.A.P.S strategy. You have to place a focus on acquiring data. And if you can do that, then it's hard not to be successful. So the P in the T.A.P.S framework is purchase. This is pretty self-explanatory. It's just giving people a reason to come into the tap room. I recommend as you start acquiring data and building your list, send one email and one text blast per week. This is a pretty good cadence to just remind people what's going on in the tap room and encourage them to come out to your events, encourage them to try new beer releases, take advantage of promos, and anything else that you might have going on. So one email per week. Make sure that every single email that you use has a call to action to visit the tap room. You don't want to just send out an email just telling people about what's going on, but not tell them what to do next. So every single email should be, if it's about trivia night, the call to action in the email should be RSVP to trivia night, and that can lead to an event on Facebook where they can RSVP. Or maybe it's try our new beer release, and then that leads to a landing page on the website with information about what that beer is and the story behind it. So you always want to have a call to action to actually come and visit the tap room. So the final piece of the T.A.P.S framework is sustain. Sustain is an extremely important piece of this, and basically what sustain means is make sure you're sustaining a relationship with your customers. It's very hard to build a successful brewery business if people only come in one time and then never come back. The way that you actually build community and build a base of customers is giving them a good customer experience and making sure that they come back. And I think a lot of people don't think of the customer experience as a marketing strategy, but really it's probably the most important piece of the marketing strategy. You need to make sure that when people come in the door, that they feel welcome. Do you remember who they are? Do you remember their names? Are you welcoming them and greeting them and making them feel like home? Or does your tap room feel like a third place for them? Is your seating comfortable? Is your beer good? Is your food good? Is the atmosphere welcoming and inviting? These are all really important factors to making sure that you can sustain a relationship with your customers. They're still going to be on your weekly email list. They'll be on your list and getting your weekly emails of trivia nights and new beer releases and all those good things. But if they go into your tap room one time and they have a bad experience, it doesn't really matter how much marketing you do to them afterwards. They're going to have a bad taste in their mouth and they're not going to come back. On the flip side, if they have an awesome experience and you're continually building this list of both potential customers and previous customers who have had a really good experience, then it's going to be really easy to start to fill your tap room on a regular basis. So sustain is very important. Make sure your customers are having a good experience. Make sure you're building relationships with them. You know who they are, you know their names, you're welcoming them to the tap room, and then it will be pretty easy to get them back to the tap room on a regular basis. So that's the T.A.P.S framework in a nutshell. If you follow this framework, your marketing will be much more effective than just posting on social media and hoping for the best. Remember, you need to generate traffic, you need to acquire data, you need to encourage people to purchase, and you need to sustain a relationship with them. If you can follow that framework, your tap room will be successful. Hope that helps. And if you need help implementing this strategy, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself and my team at harbormarketingagency.com. We help breweries to implement this strategy and drive more foot traffic into their tap rooms, and we would love to chat with you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.